No, Chuck, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to spend a few minutes here with all of you. I'm a little bit of an adventurer. I'd like to say I'm a community servant. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a spouse. I might think the next time I do this, put spouse first, but she's not listening to this. And by profession, I help my clients change to be more successful. Right? I'm not big for titles. Right? I think people that think about titles and are worried about the next promotion, I think they're missing the point. I think you got to find the things that you're passionate about and do those every day. So if you need to know my title, I lead Accenture's enterprise data management practice. I've been with us for 30 years, which is apparently kind of rare in the industry today. I grew up leading large-scale global transformation programs. I love what I do. I love helping my clients change and transform. So the kilt, right? Probably wondering what that's all about up there. Well, those who were in Rob's session for NORAM, talking about, he showed some videos of Commander Neeb, U.S. Air Force pilot. Somebody that I've actually followed over the years, I have tremendous respect for. One of our top Gun pilots, very well decorated. Got diagnosed with, terminal cancer at age like 35. Didn't have much of a chance to live. But instead of that getting him down, he went fighting, right? He went out and he has this philosophy of grow, give, gratitude. And I wanted to use this Kilt Kilimanjaro thing here to share that. I'm a big believer in that with everything that I do. I look for things that challenge me. So I wanted to climb a mountain. This physique, that challenged me. But I did it, I persevered, I got up there. The top picture on the right there, that's me puking my guts out with altitude sickness all over the side of the mountain. But I persevered. So I made it to the summit. Everybody asks, oh, how was it? Oh, great climb and everything. And I says, yeah, summit was fine, whatever. What was really cool is why we did it. We did it to give back. We went into a set of African schools where about 5,000 students, where the dropout rate was close to 65%. We went in there, we raised money, we helped tutor the schools, we helped give them pencils and notebooks and papers, and we helped drop the dropout rate down to less than 11%. You talk about making a difference. So I challenge all of you as you go through this, grow, give, gratitude. I'm thankful to God every day that I had the opportunity to do that and actually make some changes in somebody's life. Okay, what are we going to do today? Two things. I want to help change your perspective. Sorry, no magic, no numbers, none of that. A little different way of looking at it. And I also want to talk about charting your course and how to help do that. So I want to start with some headlines. Technology. Technology is part of everything that we do, right? It's pervasive in every part of our lives. But I want to start with some challenging headlines. Last year, there were 944 big hacks, big data breaches. 3.3 billion data records were compromised. That's staggering. Cambridge Analytica, we all remember that, right? CRISPR, really cool concept. Gene splicing, gene editing, changing people, changing genes. Ooh, that's cool. There's a Chinese scientist that apparently came through and was able to effectively remove I think it's the CCR5 gene from a girl who is now reportedly immune to HIV. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty scary, huh? It's an interesting world we live in. There's a concept that's out there now that we're seeing called techlash, a backlash against technology companies. And technology companies, and frankly companies all over the world, are having to do so much more today to deal with technology, to justify their actions, to make sure that there's trust in everything that they do. Okay, so that's the bad, right? There's a lot of good out there too, right? Technology is helping life expectancies and improve them dramatically. It's reduced poverty all over the world dramatically. Child mortality rates. We're able to go in agriculture and help figure out exactly how much water and fertilizer to put on a seed and minimize water usage in a drought to help grow. We're able to take MRIs and read MRIs using artificial intelligence. It used to take an hour from a human to less than 5 minutes. We're able to use artificial intelligence in breast cancer biopsies. A woman that gets a lump in her breast and a potential fear of breast cancer, oftentimes they have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get their biopsy read. That is horrifying. That is mortifying. They're sitting there trying to figure out, oh my God, what am I going to do the rest of my life if I have a rest of my life, right? AI is now able to bring that down to days and come up with a very positive, concrete result. And then SpaceX, you know, the bottom corner there, we got SpaceX launching rockets, they come back, they land simultaneously. Crazy stuff that technology is doing out there. So Accenture does something every year for the last 19 years. It's called the Accenture Technology Vision. The last 2013 to 2015, it was all focused on digital. You have to be a digital business. Then digital disruption, right? And then the last 3 years, we started focusing more on people, right? The primacy of people in the digital age, and so forth, right? So what are we looking at now for 2019? Now, it's something that we are calling the post-digital era. Okay, interesting concept. Digital is no longer an advantage. Digital is something that is a price of admission. You've got to be a digital-powered organization just to stay in the game. You look at the Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and how many companies are no longer on it. Since 2000, 50% are gone. If you're not disrupting, if you're not digital, if you're not embracing that in your industry, you're not going to survive. Companies need to meet an entirely new set of expectations from their customers, from their employees, from their workers. This is such an important thing that within Accenture, literally last week, we announced a fairly radical shift in how our organization. So we used to have a digital practice, we don't anymore, because we don't think it's a competitive advantage for us in the marketplace. So we've restructured the way that we do business. So this post-digital era, it's real for us. So what is this post-digital era all about, right? It's about individualization, customizing products, services, and experiences, hyper-customizing down to an individual. It's instant everything. Amazon Prime, right? 2-day shipping. Fantastic. Most of my shipments now I'm getting in a day. I get really upset when I put the shipping in and it says 2 days, because it's like, well, you've been shipping the last ones in a day, can't I have it in a day? Now in a lot of cities it's 2 hours shipment, right? What has that done that's changed my view of the world? When I order anything from anyone else and it's 3 to 5 days in shipping, I get really pissed off, right? Because I want it now. I want to know when I'm going to get it. Do I need it in 2 days? No. But I want it now. I want the drone thing, right? It's changed our expectations. Then you have this concept of momentary markets. So in an internet minute, okay, a moment on the internet, an internet minute, this was the end of last year, 481,000 tweets every minute, 187,000 emails every minute, $862,000 in commerce spent every minute, 38 million WhatsApps, 266,000 hours of Netflix. Whatever. Every moment is an opportunity, and that's what people need to start seizing on. Adidas, the shoe manufacturer, is partnering with Siemens. They're making shoes on demand. Companies went from having 2 or 3 models to tens of models to hundreds of models, and now it's customized to an individual person's size, shape, need, running style, whatever. Radical changes. Another big one, Heidelberg University Hospital. This is blowing my mind. They're doing something called digital twin. And the concept is that using technology, we can create a digital twin of things. They're making a digital twin of a patient's heart. They're scanning it, they're looking at it. A surgeon is in the hospital implanting a pacemaker. They have right next to them a digital twin of my heart. They're sitting there figuring out where to place the electrodes most optimally for that heart, and watching it and how the heart reacts to it in this digital twin while I'm sitting there under the knife. Unbelievable. The direction they want to go now is to have a digital medical twin of me. so that for all of my health needs, they can watch how my body changes, try different drugs, try different things, and see how it works on me before they try it on me. This is a radically different world that we live in. This sounds like sci-fi stuff, right? It's real. But one of the big challenges is trust and responsibility. The trust that we need to have in our data, in the technology, in the use of it, the ethics of it, is now a completely different world that we live in. So Accenture has these 5 themes in our technology vision. And by the way, I will work with Chuck and Charles to get emailed out to all of you a copy of this technology vision, so you can read it if you're interested, right? Because I think it's some pretty exciting stuff, right? The first is dark, right? Distributed ledger, which is like blockchain type stuff, artificial intelligence, enhanced reality, and quantum computing. Okay? I'm still trying to figure out what all that means to me, right? Our visions are out there. I'll be from Accenture here, right? I'll be the first to admit I'm really figuring out the last vision. Now the new vision came out, and I'm trying to really embrace that and figure out what all that means. But here's a great example. Volkswagen, the car manufacturer. Right now, they're using quantum computing. They're using that to map traffic flows. They're using that to look inside their battery technology at the chemical reactions that are happening to help optimize and enhance batteries. It's about time somebody did that. Car hacks. They're using blockchain to help prevent and preclude and notice if somebody's trying to hack into your car. Crazy idea, but you know what? There's actually a Twitter feed out there right now that is live from hackers for hackers that has all the IoT devices out there and how best to hack them, what's most hackable, the ways to hack them, and so forth. It's a scary world we live in. Volkswagen's also using this for augmented reality car repair. So that put a pair of goggles on and you actually see the repairs that you're doing on the car. Crazy stuff. This is real, right? Get to know me. So really understanding an individual. In India, right, a lot of students don't have credit. So a company called Slice Play over there is finding a different way to determine creditworthiness for students. And they're using technology. How many times do they check into a restaurant using a mobile device? How many times, what are they posting on social media? Things like that. And they're actually able to make a very accurate score on that individual to determine their creditworthiness. So that's kind of crazy. John Hancock, life insurance company. They're doing something where you buy life insurance and it's so hyper individualized to you that based on a wearable device, your premiums or your benefits will go up or down based on your fitness. If you do a lot of fitness, you meet your fitness goals, you'll get rebates, you'll get rewards, kind of like they're doing with cars right now. IKEA, they have a virtual tool where you take a video of your room and it places the furniture in and you can see it in sort of real D, right? All ways that these companies are getting to know me. Human and worker. This is a cool one. Swisscom, Swiss Bank. They have this new thing called Ask the Brain. It's an AI-powered tool where you post a question, it goes out to all the experts in the company, and it tailors it to who the best expert is to try and give the best answer. It's cut down the time that people have taken to research things, solve problems dramatically. Everybody uses it. It's kind of a crowdsourcing thing within the company, and everybody's getting benefit. So that's huge. Unilever, for new hiring, instead of just scanning a resume, they're having people go out and take tests, play games online, like little video games or some mind tests or things like that seem completely unrelated to the job. And there's no right or wrong answer, but it gives them a perspective on the person and how they think, how they operate, and that gives them a much better hiring process for that individual, and they've increased their retention and they've decreased the time it takes to hire people dramatically. Security, big issue all around. The security to an individual is becoming much more important. And my markets, right, there's a company called Paper Boats. This one's also happens to be in India. And they sell buttermilk soft drinks. It's a thing. Sorry, that's a new one to me. But what they've done is, apparently this is a big thing, but they've hyper-personalized this. So their buttermilk soft drinks, in one town or city and region, they might like more curries, so they'll tailor it to that particular city and that market and distribute it there. Another one might like ginger. They have seasonal beverages that they put out just for 2 or 3 days a year with certain different flavors on it. They figured out their markets and they figured out their supply chain, so they're able to hyper-customize these things. GM, General Motors, they're now able to go out and do 3D printing of tools. So on the manufacturing line, there's somebody loses a tool. Instead of it taking a couple of days to replace it or even hours, they just 3D print it. Some of these tools they buy for a few $1,000s, they can 3D print for $10 or $15. Big changes going on in the industry. Okay, Charles, I want to come back to something that you started out with in the first day on the moment of lift. So I'm a big space geek. I love our space program. I've met a lot of the astronauts. I have something that was actually flown on every Apollo mission. One of my quirky, weird hobbies, right? But let's talk about this moment of lift, right? Friendship 7, John Glenn, first person to orbit the Earth. They had to invent the math. Orbital dynamics, orbital calculations didn't exist. They had to figure this stuff out. Apollo 11 landed on the moon. They invented like freaking everything, right? The orbital, the math, the space suits that they wore. I mean, there was so much innovation that came from this. The Mars Climate Orbiter, really, really cool spaceship, is going to Mars, going to land on it, understand more about the climate, crashed and burned on re-entry. Why? Simple unit of measure error. One set of scientists was using metric kilograms, one was using English pounds. And the unit of measure is off. Simple data error cost $120 million spacecraft. And then, you look at SpaceX now, reusable spacecraft completely disrupted the industry, right? They actually just, I don't know if you heard the news, earlier this week, they blew up one of their rockets in order to prove that they were safe so that they could now take astronauts up to the space station. We'll go with it. My whole point is all this stuff is powered by data, right? I believe that data is the single biggest value play and single biggest opportunity for businesses today, for operational excellence as well as for disruption. The power that companies have taking the data assets that they have and leveraging it across their enterprise is huge. And that's something that we are capitalizing on as Accenture, right? The business climate is changing. We all know this. Business disruptions, everything at speed, new relationships, tighter relationships, new operating modules, mergers, acquisitions, globalization, right? Technology, everything's moving to cloud, right? You got big data, you got predictive analytics, mobile, I want everything on my device. Big changes. Big changes need big impacts, right? So data, we see that as the fuel of the new economy, right? You all know this, right? But look at some of the quotes on the bottom. By 2021, 80% of companies will initiate deliberate competency development in data. 75% are looking at having a chief data officer. 90% of corporate strategies will explicitly mention data. I talk to a lot of CEOs, I talk to a lot of boards of directors, and data's on the agenda. It's a little different world. Companies are creating new products and services. John Deere, what does John Deere make? Tractors, right? They don't view them as a tractor company anymore. They view themselves as a platform company. They help farmers broker, buy and sell produce and farm goods. They put sensors on their tractors and map their fields. It's crazy. Higher efficiency, jet engines, the jets you flew here, terabyte of data per flight just to find that one little anomaly out of each engine to help reduce unplanned maintenance. Regulatory, I don't know why we don't have GDPR for the world at this point, but I think it's coming, right? What's holding companies back? Again, I think a lot of us know this. Lack of a data strategy or a vision around data, bad data quality, no data catalog, no lineage, the inability to trust the data that they have. We're making life and death decisions on data from some of the things you just saw, yet we struggle trusting that data. Data's exploding, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data a day. I have no idea what that means. But 90% of the world's data has been created in the last 2 years. 90% of the world's data. and that's logarithmically going up, right? AI machine learning is now letting us corral that and do something with that. This Fang Effect, where you've got companies, I mean the classic ones, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, right? These are companies, their entire business model is based on data. They buy, sell, and broker data. Apple sells hardware too, but you get the point, right? But one of the things that we're seeing is that analytics, people aren't getting the return that they had hoped for in analytics. They're not getting it a lot. And the reason is the underlying data is challenged. So there's this big resurgence in the industry. A few years ago, it was all about predictive analytics. Now we're moving back toward foundational data. It's one of the reasons why, ASG DI is so important. Harvard Business Review study, 97% of business decisions are being made using unacceptable quality of data. These are mind-boggling numbers and statistics, right? This concept of getting trust in your data is so important. So the right data is the key to success, right? We all know that, right? And organizations are using data, as kind of I've talked about, both offensively and defensively. So offensively to create competitive advantage, defensively for regulatory, for privacy, security, and so forth. This is also an important slide. Companies, the C-suite, the boards, are looking at data a little bit differently. Data is a huge asset. Data is driving the change. Allstate, the CEO is saying, we are not an insurance company, we're a data company. New River Steel, big steel company in the Midwest in the US, big molten blast furnaces. If you look at their website, they say, we are a technology and data company who happens to make steel. Different view of the world.